It's a great honor
Köszönöm.
and pleasure to be
Nagy
invited to speak with such esteemed and well-developed smart cities. Greetings to the mayor and to all everyone on the call, and we look forward to sharing some of what has been a very interesting journey for us in our smart city adventure. I would like to share a slideshow with you to demonstrate some of our projects. My main focus today would be to use those projects to illustrate 3 or 4 of our approaches to defining and implementing a smart city approach. And then I will conclude by demonstrating one particular project that was part of our COVID-19 response that used some of our smart city thinking. So I'll just share screen now. Can we see? Is this good?
Yes, we.
Okay.
Excellent.
Newcastle is a beautiful coastal city in Australia. We are not the capital. We are not even the capital of the state. We are a city of about 500,000 people in the metro area, and we're located 2 hours north of Sydney. We're nestled between beautiful Australian beaches and a deep water port. Newcastle is currently going through many drastic changes, and they look like this. We're experiencing a once in 100-year opportunity where most of our entire city centre is being ripped up and relayed to create new transport networks, new public domain areas. And so this was a very important opportunity for us to grab to put next generation technologies into the fabric of the city. We've been working on our smart city project since 2015, so we're some way in. To provide context for the people on the conference who may not know Australia well, Newcastle is considered a leading Australian smart city. It is a mid-tier city, and we have been recent recipients of Best Smart City Strategy in Australia and Smart City of the Year in 2019. When you talk about what our objectives are, these are 2 strategic documents. You see at the bottom the taglines. Our community's ambition is to be smart, livable, sustainable. So we work hard on that. Smart is literally the first word in how our community would like our city to evolve. Similarly, the state government identifies great potential for Newcastle to be a leader in new economy and carbon neutral initiatives and smart cities. So we're very pleased to be working towards those objectives, although I won't pretend that that's an easy challenge. It's a difficult and long process. Our vital statistics, you can see us there on a map. We have 160,000 people in our local government area, in our local district, but the Newcastle metro area is 570,000 people. We're a proud industrial city moving into a post-industrial future. We have excellent engineering and manufacturing capability and expertise, but our biggest employers now are healthcare and social assistance as we move into a knowledge economy. These are the type of challenges that our smart city is grappling with. We're growing fast, we're changing quickly, but we want to do that in a way that doesn't compromise our outstanding livability, amenity, and quality of life. We also want to take the opportunity to develop new models of operating cities and city urban services, and that's both infrastructural and regulatory and strategic. We need to attract talented people. Smart cities are about smart people. We need to stem the loss of our graduates to the larger Sydney market to the south, and we're very interested to build international profile in order to attract inward investment and talent. We have had some success in our international relationships, and we've been fortunate to host delegations of government and industry from Finland, from the Netherlands, and actually one of the presenters later on the call, Frans Anton Vermast, he's a friend of Newcastle, who I know well, and he was one of our early ambassadors who came to Newcastle and got us started on our journey. So that is very pleasing to see him later in the schedule. Our smart city strategy is comprehensive. It covers off these 6 areas. People who know smart city strategy will know this is a representation of Boyd Cohen's implementation strategy. We spent a year talking to our community about what these different areas mean, how to define them, and how to build those objectives. It was a very extensive process that gave us confidence that we were going to develop the smart city in a way that made sense to our community, but that the community would feel a sense of ownership in them. We've currently got over 70 projects complete or underway, and I could tell a very rich story about any one of those sections. But I wanted today to instead talk about some deeper philosophies of how our smart city operates, and I'll use some of our projects just as illustrations. Our first strategic approach is the notion that the city should be an experimental platform. It's not just a place for habitation and industry. The city must be the location where new ideas are developed and applied. This is for many reasons. You can't solve congestion in a paddock. You have to be where the problem is to solve it. And that the city is the concentration of expertise and resources. So this is an adoption of a living lab philosophy that I know is well established in Europe. Like my colleague in Barcelona, we have spent some time deploying sensors all through the city. We do it mainly through our smart pole network. I probably don't need to identify the significance of the streetlight in the deployment of smart city infrastructure. We have Australia's largest smart pole deployment. These are modular units capable of holding many different sensors. They provide public Wi-Fi. They are all fibre connected. And we go further. We have built custom designed sensor housings that fit onto the top and into the base to let researchers and innovators and industrial designers and entrepreneurs to come to us and say, well, we're trying to accelerate our product realization cycle in developing new products. Can you help us by putting it out into the city? So we really have created Newcastle City Centre as a test bed for new technology development. We're very interested in the future of mobility. This is one of our autonomous vehicle trials, a small shuttle getting around in mixed traffic. We've trialled electronic bike networks and transport on demand and different forms of micro-mobility as part of trying to understand how new and emerging technologies fit into multimodal networks. So this is all some demonstrations of the different ways that we have purposefully created Newcastle as a place where people come to try new things. Our second strategic approach is around data, and people in the conference will be well aware that smart cities are in many ways around the collection and aggregation and storage and analysis of data. We think that the local government has a really important role to play as the custodian of city data, and we're building many different data platforms and strategies and policies to enable that. The transition to a more mature data culture is very challenging because it's behavioural. It's not just a technology element, so it takes time and is tricky. But we have LoRaWAN coverage right across our local government area, so we can put sensors anywhere in any urban, natural or aquatic environment in the city. And that means that we can collect new generation data and work to make it interoperable with traditional data, more traditional formats that are found in local councils and local cities. This type of portal is open to the public so they can see the results of data, and this is the type of place where you would see that you should not water your oval if it rained the night before. So we're integrating data feeds from different areas and integrating that with the sensor data so that we can make more informed decisions about asset management and service delivery. We put sensors everywhere, indoors, outdoors. But we're not just about using that information to measure. We want to use that information to intervene. This is an example of one of our pilot locations for intervention into urban heat island. So we took sensor readings before we did a public upgrade, and we also took a lot of temperature readings of different materials, which you can see in the Rosetta diagram above. Is it a hard stand? Is it a shrubs? Is it tree plantings? They will all have different impacts on urban heat island. And in the bottom right, you can see a matrix of interventions from short term and cheap to expensive and long term. The eventual solution might be a tree canopy, but that's 20 years in the making. What can you do in the meantime in terms of the combination of different interventions to get the same effect that the tree canopy will eventually have? The third approach I would like to flag is this notion that the city, if it is appropriately censored and responsive, can start to deliver personalised and customised services. This starts with information but can move into much more dynamic environments. By way of illustration, I think it's easy to understand if you can compare running down the street to catch a bus, which is you conforming to a predetermined schedule and infrastructural layout, compared to dialing up an on-demand shuttle, which is the system morphing around you. You can only do that if the system knows who you are, where you are in space and time, and the route optimization software and analytics of the network can shift to make that an appropriate pickup. There are many different services that governments provide that can be personalized in this way so that the different needs of our citizens can be catered for appropriately. So parking obviously is a big problem, and we've solved that through smart parking, both with apps but also sensors. My colleague from Barcelona identified that the citizen is a very important source of data, and we think that the citizen is the sensor of the future. So getting their input is very important. So we are working on data models that take sensor information around parking availability, but integrate that in real time with the behaviours of people who are searching for parking. How far are they driving? Where are they in the city, for example? We have many different apps, and our city app has augmented reality built into it. This is an example for wayfinding. We can overlay video and different types of information. To add value to that experience. And on the right here, we're using augmented reality for different types of cultural interpretation. This is a welcome to country where you arrive in the city, and via the augmented reality, you'll be able to interact with avatars of Indigenous people who will welcome you to country and tell stories of our place before white colonization. Provision of information into the city is important. People should not have to rely on the opening hours of a business to interact with their council. So these smart kiosks are important in that regard. But we're also interested in a deeper type of personalised experience. This project that we're looking at with these children transfixed is a game. They will move these little origami pieces around in this grid. And by doing that, they will change in real time the coloured lighting in the trees in the park. So this is what I'm talking about when I say the censored city can provide a personal experience, and you can see just how engaged they are and how memorable that is for them. The last strategic approach I would like to identify is what we call learning by doing. We're in the business, as all smart city practitioners are, of applying new ideas and emerging technologies to novel problems. Everything about that is new, untested, and ambiguous. There's only one way to solve it, and that's to get in and do it. But we need to do that in a systematic and methodical way, a reproducible way. So we have an entire system of how we apply a methodology to our innovation so that our investment can be spent wisely and we can move forward in ways that make sense to the community. The picture that we're looking at here is a couple of primary school age girls who are building a do-it-yourself Internet of Things air quality sensor through one of our maker facilities. they would assemble and configure and then code this cube and then take it home, and the experience of taking air quality readings is gamified on a dashboard. And by doing that, we hope to make them more aware of the role of technology in the future, but we would also hope that these girls would go home and start a conversation around their kitchen table about the future of technology and the future of the city, and feel like they can be part of that story and that future. Here's an example of our methodology of learning by doing. We start with one. I've used the Smart Pole network as an example, but this can be applied to almost all of our projects. The proof of concept is one pole, one data set, one application, one iteration in the app. And once that has been proven as technically feasible, then we might move to a scale of 25 to 30. And now we've moved on to many, many hundreds of smart poles across the city. We're very interested in creating citizens who can fully participate in the city that we are creating. We run lots of workshops with school children right up to seniors. This is an Internet of Things workshop where these people are building a gadget and they're learning that they're becoming familiar with the technology, and we're trying to reduce anxiety, and we're trying around change, and we're trying to increase familiarity so that people will be more confident to whether or not they're students going into STEM education or just tinkerers who want to feel like what they're doing is part of a bigger narrative for the future of the city of Newcastle. We run many events for community, and they might be for startups and entrepreneurs and innovators. This one is for general community. It's called Data is the New Oil. This is obviously a playful turn of phrase on a very famous quote. And we use it to open up discussions with the community around very important issues of privacy, data security. We want people to know what's happening with their data, and we want them to feel like they're part of the conversation. These are very popular events in Newcastle. So the future is bright, and Newcastle is on a great trajectory. And of course, we've all been railroaded by what's happened in the year 2020, which no one saw coming and has been very challenging. And I've just now described one project called Lean in Newey, which was part of our COVID-19 response. We wanted to create a way for people who wanted to help to be directed to areas that needed help. So we built an app that would incentivize people to do certain pro-social behaviors, and by doing that, they would earn points that they could then redeem with local businesses. Whether or not that's around formal volunteering or just helping out their local neighbourhood or engaging in activities that foster creativity and community interaction, or shopping local and supporting their local businesses. There's a whole range of challenges, and we issue the challenges. There was 50 on launch. There's 90 in the app at the moment, something for everybody. And they can choose to go through a shopping list of options, and they can do help in many different ways, in ways that make sense to them, whether that's helping a charity with their time or donation, or whether it's just getting together or dropping off some groceries for a neighbour. The app enables all of this. It's really a three-sided marketplace. We have 13 community organisations on the app, and they post challenges, and then volunteers can go through a process to be upgraded and validated as a volunteer, and then they can help out those organisations who were really very in critical need of support, particularly at the depth of the COVID crisis. We wanted to create a situation where we would help people, but also help the charities and not-for-profits. We didn't want to burden them with people who weren't skilled. So within the app, people can go through a whole series of courses to become skilled as a volunteer, whether that's a state government requirement like a working with children check, or whether they need to learn about cultural diversity or mental health so that they can look out for people that they might encounter in the community. And we have 50 different businesses so far, with more coming on every day, who are able to offer rewards, and the City of Newcastle pays as a rebate the cost of that reward. So there's no impost on the business. So it really is a very virtuous circle delivered through an elegant solution that's in the hand of the citizen, and they can decide what to do, help in a way that makes help to them, earn points, take those points, and then help a business. The rewards are of many different varieties, and here's the scorecard, if you like. Very diverse demographics are involved. We have over 2,400 now. This is slightly out of date. People who've collectively completed 4,100 different challenges, and all of that is making our community better off. There's many different ways we're going to use this into the future, but I feel now that we are running close to time, and I will choose to finish there. Thank you all for your time this morning, and I look forward to the rest of the proceedings, and thank you.